Hey guys, welcome back to Spilling It with Sammy Kurtz. Tonight is my second episode and my first guest, Miss Kiani Beri, my best friend.
Hello!
I'm sure majority of you would already know who she is. And tonight's episode, we are chatting all things friendship.
Woo, the big F.
But before we get into all of the very juicy questions, because we got some bangers, I'm going to hit you up so they can get to know you a little bit.
Perfect.
With a few icebreaker questions.
Bring it on.
Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
And you got to answer them quick, smart.
Okay.
You can't think.
Yeah.
If you could be a guy for a day, what's the first thing you'd do?
I'd wank all day, every day. Everywhere. On everything.
On everything.
Everything.
Shit. What's your biggest pet peeve?
Jack snoring. It's fucked up.
He needs a face mask.
Yeah. Darth Vader up that shit.
Your most embarrassing moment.
So this happened last year.
I die.
I was running up Alex Hill and I saw someone coming that I knew and he went to like fist bump me and I like papered him. And I was like, yeah, cool, sick. And he was like, okay. And we just kept running. And then we had Jack's birthday at your mate's and he worked at your mate's. So that was cool.
Why did you actually like paper him?
I don't know. I thought we were going to high five. Like I went to high five because we were both running and I thought it was a bit more convenient to high five past. But he fisted me and I papered it and it was mortifying.
I can't.
Yeah, it was mortifying. I cringed thinking about it. Like mortifying.
Oh my God. And lastly, your favourite memory of us?
It'd have to be the Bali moment when we were in Bali and we were going for our couple's day spa and we didn't know what to wear. There was boobs everywhere. There was chocolate sauce. There's language barriers. Anyway, it was
a mess.
Hilarious.
But it was the fun. Yeah, probably my favourite memory.
Yeah, we laughed until we cried. We had laugh lumps, cheeks hurt.
Still, when I watch the videos, because I saved it as a highlight on my old Instagram page. So if you were following my skirt page, it's literally as a highlight. I wish I could save them and upload them for you guys.
You had to think about dead puppies to stop laughing.
I literally had to think about dead puppies. Like, that's how funny it was.
Jesus.
Oh my God, what a time to be alive.
Yeah.
All right, so before we jump into the questions, we should maybe tell everyone how we met.
Yep.
And a little bit about us.
Yep.
So I was actually thinking about this today, and I think we've known each other for 12 years and we've been best friends for 7.
Yep.
Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah, so how we met was the guy I was dating was his best mate was also dating Brooke, who, hi Brooke, if you're watching. A lot of you probably would have met Brooke when I owned Brooklyn and Billy. She was like my senior stylist and we just reconnected over the last few years. But we were dating best friends and Brooke was a hairdresser back then and she was working with Kiani. And that was like in Kaluan where we lived. So I used to go in there and get my hair done with Brooke and that's how I met her. But then when I broke up with my partner at the time, Brooke and I kind of lost contact and I was looking for a hairdresser. And I ended up going to a hairdresser that Kiani was still working with and at. But we weren't friends. We just like knew of each other and vibed each other. But there's like a 5-year age gap between us. So
I would have been like 15. You would
she
have been
wasn't
like
even
20.
cool yet. Like she was like 15.
Please, I was too cool.
And then how we reconnected was we both got a job at Bardo. And it's funny because they had 2 group interviews. And I was in one and she was in the other. So we didn't even know each other had the job. And when we showed up on the first day, we were like, what's up?
Yeah, we were like, we back, bitches. We back.
We started. That's when we started.
Yeah.
Kiani Beri was created.
Yeah.
And from day dot, they literally tried to play us against each other.
Yeah.
The whole time.
Like the 2IC position.
Yeah.
And then
just everything. We weren't allowed to be friends.
We weren't allowed to work together in the end.
No.
Yeah.
We weren't allowed to work the same shifts together. Like when a banger came on at the shop and like our shifts were like, you know, passing over each other, we used to have to like hide in opposite ends of the store and like meerkat, we used to call it, to each other across the store and like give each other the look like, this is a banger.
It's an absolute banger.
Absolute banger.
Yeah.
But we used to like go out and we used to hide that we were together.
It was literally like a Romeo and Juliet situation, like star-crossed lovers, not allowed to be together, trying to keep us apart, tear us apart, but our love brought us back together.
No one has won yet. No one has kept us apart. Look at us.
Yeah.
And they do say
stronger than ever.
Once you pass that 7-year glitch, friends for life.
Yeah.
You want to pay for me?
Yeah, thanks. Fuck
Friends
you.
for life. So let's dive straight into the questions. While we're on that topic, so many people ask me, are you my soulmate? Abso-freaking-lutely.
Yeah.
I am unsure if I've met my other male soulmate yet, but I've definitely found my friendship soulmate.
Yep.
We talk more than what she even talks to her fiance.
It's true. Yeah. Absolutely.
So definitely soulmates, that's for sure. Never had a friendship like it. Never
we have
really,
a very intense friendship.
Very intense. But I think it's because we both have high expectations of friendships.
And we both put in what we get out.
Yeah, well, it takes two, guys.
Two to tango.
It takes two. If it's not on, it's not on.
No, it is not.
But we were talking about this earlier. A friendship is like any other relationship. It's like a relationship with your lover, with family, like they take work.
Yeah.
And we definitely put the work in. Like we talk every single day.
Yeah.
We were just saying before, like she knows more about my life and I know more about hers than probably our partners.
Yeah.
And we know every single thing about each other's lives.
Yeah.
Like she knows about my kid shitting himself today. I'm not going to tell anyone else that, am I?
Wouldn't have it any other way though, poor Brooklyn.
I love how you dub in.
Oh shit.
We're fucked.
Maybe it was Billy.
Billy's
Who
going to
knows?
hate you for that. Keep him guessing.
Maybe. Who knows?
Oh my God. All right, so let's jump into some questions. We're going to leave the real bangers till last because there was some real bangers in there and we've actually lived through a stage of that. And so it was something that was already on my list to bring up and talk about. But let's dive straight into it. So a lot of people asked about what is our advice when you try to reconnect with an old friend and it's not reciprocated.
Probably just cut it.
Well, it takes two.
Yeah, if it's not reciprocated.
Totally. It's
Then
like
why
a
bother?
relationship. Like if you were still hung up on someone and you were like messaging them and calling them and they weren't into it, then it's like...
Why bother wasting time, energy, effort?
Totally.
Cut that cord.
If they don't see the value in you as a person or your friendship, then why stick around and treat yourself like that? Like you deserve better. So that would be my advice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would just cut that cord. It might be hard, but in the long run, you've got to think, is it worth it?
Totally.
Put my thing down, flip it and reverse it.
How to respectfully part ways from friends that you've been friends with for a long time.
For starters, you have to ask why. Like if you've been friends with that person for a long time, again, if they're not bringing value to your life or, you know, again, it takes two. So if you're putting in more, they're not putting in more, like putting in effort. I don't know, but I'd be asking why do you want to leave that friendship of a long time?
Totally. And on the other end of the spectrum, I'd be like asking you, like people grow up and grow apart. And like one of the best pieces of advice I've ever been given in my life was the most that we change in our lives is between the age of 20 and 30. So this is why you see a lot of people get married really young and it doesn't work out because people change.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. And I'm really passionate about this question because I actually have a lot of amazing women in my life who basically only stay friends with shitty people that don't honour their boundaries or honour them as a friend or even really give a shit about them. And the only reason they're staying friends with them is because they're like, oh, but we've been friends since high school. And it's like, what does that matter?
Yeah.
It's not an excuse. Like, yeah, so what was the question? Love that Belvedere for me. How to respectfully part ways from friends. So I think it's the same as a relationship and friendships. Just do you. And I think it will naturally happen.
Yeah, if it's Or, you know, like we're big on communicating, maybe have that chat and communicate with that person. And, I mean, it's like a breakup.
Totally. And if you do still love them and care about them and wish them well, maybe it is a conversation and you sit down and you say, hey, listen, like I'm just really focused on me right now. I feel like because if you're feeling it, I'm sure that they're feeling it as well. So maybe just sit down and say, like, I want to address the elephant in the room. I feel like there's a bit of distance between us. And maybe you can come to an agreement where it's like, oh, like you either don't want to lose the friendship and you figure out a way to keep the friendship alive, or maybe they're feeling the same way. So communication is key, guys.
Is the key.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Have we ever had a falling out?
We've had 2.
Yes, we have.
2?
Yeah. Oh, there's been like any friendship, any relationship, there's definitely been like ups and downs and little tiffs here and there. Like I can already think of like, you know, 4 or 5 tiffs where we've called each other on the phone and just been like, hey, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we've only really had 2 falling outs in the 7 years.
Yeah. So the first one was I was just young and my relationship at the time was super, super toxic. And I guess we were just young. We both didn't.
She's now engaged to the guy.
Yeah, engaged to him 10 years later.
With a bun in the oven.
Yeah. Hence why I'm not on the vodkas. But yeah, like we were both just, we were all just really young. I was in a toxic relationship, again, super young. I was just doing the same shit with him over and over. What's that saying about the insanity?
The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
And that was me with him at the time. Again, we were very, very young and stupid. And then you just were like, oh, fuck it, I'm done.
Yeah, it was just, to be honest, like her situation wasn't the primary factor. I definitely was still young as well. And one thing I've learned throughout my life and my journey is you can't really comment on someone's situation if you've never been in that situation yourself. And I just cared about her. Yeah. And that's another thing that I'll bring up again later when we talk about hating your best friend's partner. That was the most commonly asked question. Yeah. But yeah, I'll give some advice on that as the best friend. All I cared about was her. Yeah. And I wasn't. She was young. I was young, and we had a lot to learn, and I wasn't really hearing any good things about him. Yeah. So I just wanted her to be happy, really.
Yeah. Which I am, by the way, and he's fantastic. We might just add that.
Yeah, I can absolutely say I went through a stage where I absolutely hated him, like hated him. Yeah. Didn't like anything about him, and that's obviously why we had the falling out. But absolutely love you now, hate.
So do I.
You better be watching this. You better love him.
Well, yeah, he's all right. I'll keep him around.
He goes all right.
But we're going to get divorced.
We were just having a giggle because when we went to the beach the other day, he was saying how cool a divorce sounds.
But he wants 2 of them.
He wants 2 divorces.
Fuck me. So, yeah, like I'm up for sale soon, guys.
Your mate. Yeah, so that falling out was, what did we say, 6 months?
Yeah. Yep.
A good 6 months, and there was actually, at the time of the falling out, there was like a group of 3 of us, and our other friend, Maylin, I will name drop you because we still love you. She was kind of caught in between it. It was really awkward for her. I think you more went off to focus on your relationship and like I think that was like a big turning point for you guys. And Maylin and I hung out a lot, and then something happened with Maylin and I. I was worried about her. Something was going on, and I was in the plaza one day and I just went, fuck it. And she was working at Universal at the time. And this is why I don't hold grudges, because I cannot imagine what my life would have been like if I didn't walk into Universal that day and just talk to you like nothing had ever happened. Yeah. And we just picked up where we left off. Yeah. So that was our first big blue. And then what was the second one again?
Bali?
No.
Bardo.
Yeah. So we have, like we said, a very intense friendship, and without sounding like we have big heads, so many people message us constantly and say, you girls are a vibe, like we want to hang out with you guys, I want to be friends with you guys. And we definitely aren't snobs. We're like, the more the merrier.
Yeah.
Like, we
want to create like a friendship circle.
Like,
totally.
We've tried so many times.
Yeah.
But this actually leads into another commonly asked question, and that was, why do girls or why do friends feel the need to compete? And we're just not about that in any way, shape or form. No. And we did find that every time we invite people in, a form of that was happening. And the main time that we've always had issues, even if it wasn't a falling out, but just an argument or a disagreement, has always been from there being like a third or fourth kind of member in the mix and trying to drive a wedge between us. And unfortunately for them, we learnt very early on when we were working at Bardo to communicate and just address it straight away. Yeah. And I think we learnt early on, like, how much we really care about each other and how much we vibe each other. And we learnt very early on there's no need for us to say that kind of shit about each other.
Yeah.
So
straight off the bat, we just, if there was an issue or we knew people were saying stuff or whatever, we just called each other or spoke about it. Because at the end of the day, communication's key. And we were just like, hey, did you say this? Did this get said? This is what's been said. And then...
And it's
but we don't have that.
Easy. Like, trust me, like we said, we've invited heaps of other girls into our lives and we've had all different, like, threesomes, foursomes, groups, girl gangs. Like, we've had all these different vibes happening and
we loved it. It's just I don't think the others could keep up, really.
No. And to be honest, like, I almost feel like girls prefer when you do talk behind their back. Like, a lot of girls that we've come across can't handle the straight up and the no filter and the honesty, but that's what we're about, and that's how you have a good friendship, guys. Like, you just deal with it and you go straight to that person, and it shouldn't involve everyone else. It's between you and that person, and it doesn't have to be confrontational. Like, I've always been named my whole life as confrontational, but it doesn't have to be.
No,
it's just communicating. So there are two falling outs.
Yeah.
And then the other one, I wouldn't really call it a falling out. We were still talking, but we do talk every day. And pre-kids, we used to see each other every day. We've worked together twice at Bardo and at UE. So that's why
if we weren't working together, we were together anyway.
Yeah, we were always together.
Yeah.
Until kids, and then we were lucky if we saw each other once or twice a week. It's different now. Like, we definitely always make time for each other. Like, we literally have a date night or a date day every week.
Yeah.
And like we said before, we talk every day. But there was also another, like, awkward situation when I was opening Brooklyn and Billy, and this kind of came down to love languages, which this is when we both really, I think, was a turning point for us, and we really knew friendships are like relationships, and just like it's important to figure out your lover's love language, it's important in friendships. And there's not just a love language, but there's an apology language and
a fight style,
everything like that. And we've taken the time to get to know that about each other. So if you have a friend in your life that you love and you want to keep around and figure them out, then we highly suggest all of that. But that was where it went a little bit wrong when we got home from Bali and I was opening the salon. She figured me out a lot more. So my two main love languages are acts of service and quality time. And it was just almost like a miscommunication, which is funny for us because we're big communicators. Yeah. But coming back, when we came back, I was balls deep into formals and she was balls deep into Christmas time in retail. And then I had 3 weeks to open my dream salon. And I wanted her around, and it was kind of me being selfish. I was just like, I want you to be a part of this and around and a part of this journey. And she just wasn't. Well, like, she was to what she could be. Like, I wasn't really taking into consideration her, like, what was going on for her, because it was such a big thing for me. And also at the time, again, there were other friends that were clearly threatened by our relationship and saw the distance that was being created there, not purposely, but there was just distance, and they saw an opportunity to swoop in and try and get in between us. And we're not perfect sometimes.
But I learned so much about you in that time. Like, like we've said, like, you know, we've grown from that. Like, I got to know your fight style, apology style, even your love language. So it was actually a blessing, I suppose.
Totally.
You know, that we took out
So
of it. We
bad
could have
times
easily
are
ended a
great.
friendship. Maybe someone would have ended a friendship over that. But if anything, that probably made us stronger anyway.
Totally. You've really got to
we've not
take
fought
silver
since.
light. No, we literally haven't.
Yeah.
You got to take the silver linings from the shitty times.
Yeah.
Because there's always going to be shitty times.
Yeah.
And I know we look perfect,
Obviously.
but we're not. We're not. We're pretty fucking good though.
Yeah.
I will admit.
Close.
For 7 years to only have 2 falling outs and like maybe 5 or 6 fights.
Yeah.
And usually those fights have been involving someone else. That's pretty goddamn good.
Outside influences.
Yeah, who needs them?
No, not me.
How have we ever had a falling out? How to deal with losing friends and falling out, so grieving a lost friendship. We kind of spoke about this before, but again, it's like a breakup. They're not easy.
No.
They're not, like, we recently just went through this year. We weren't even friends with these certain people for that long, but it's still hard because for me, the reason it's hard for me is you open up to these people and you share certain experiences and parts of your life with these people, and I think it hurts no matter what.
It's
Even
like
if
any
you call
relationship
it.
though, you need closure, and these friendships kind of just ended.
Yeah.
Like it was kind of like a COVID relationship,
Yeah.
and then
this is why we communicate.
Yeah.
Like even when I go when that's what I don't know, everyone's very different, but this for us we're very similar, as in we would have preferred to just, we respect people's boundaries.
Yeah.
We don't respect each other.
we don't have boundaries for each other.
But we probably would have just, because we're such huge communicators, we probably would have just liked to sit down and be like, what is even happening?
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah. But again, I think it was Again, I think it was an issue of just maybe our friendship was too intense and they couldn't keep up. But anyway, back to grieving a relationship, you just have to, I don't know, you could burn their name, put their name in the freezer. Twins! Oh my God. Fist me and I'll pay for you. What else? Burn, freezer.
Write them a letter and burn it.
Even just have a closure conversation.
I like to always, even if I know the person isn't going to reply to me, or if I don't deserve a reply or whatever, I still like to get off my chest what I need to say, and that helps me move on. And I think always hold your head high and always be the bigger person.
And then block them.
Block and delete. No, savage. Yeah, I don't really have much advice for that. It's just, if you're calling the shots, then I think if you're going to make a final decision like that, like, be final in your decision.
And make sure it's not reactive. Have a good
Yeah,
think about
totally.
why you're doing it and the repercussion, or, you know,
Totally.
just
and
why.
if you're on the other end of it, which we've kind of been this year, it's like, well, you have to respect it.
Yeah.
I guess you have to. And just do whatever feels right to you. Like, yes, reach out to them if you want to reach out. Like I said, like in my situations, I always, it's not that I want to have the last say. It's just that I want to be able to walk away knowing I said all that I wanted to say and got everything off my chest and be able to move on with my life kind of thing. So, but any kind of grief, the last thing I want to say about that is your feelings are valid and feel whatever you need to feel.
Yeah.
Even if it ended on bad terms. Like, you still had good terms. You still were friends. So take all the time you need.
Yeah.
Why do friends have to compete?
Well, I don't know.
It's so silly.
This is an odd question because we don't.
No.
But I don't know, I suppose in a friendship circle or whatever, I guess people feel like there's got to be a queen bee. And then if there's two alphas, are they competing?
Totally. I
don't know.
don't even know exactly what girls compete over these days.
No, like what?
I remember in high school it was like boys.
Or like having the latest hip top.
Yeah.
Or
So I don't even know what girls of this age, like grown-ass women, would be competing over.
No.
But my advice on that is own who you are and, like, be confident in yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you clearly need to focus on your own self-worth and self-value, because you shouldn't be competing with anyone, let alone your friends. Like, they're definitely not the enemy.
they should be your hype girls, not the enemy.
Totally. If they're not your hype girls, you got the wrong friends, sister.
Cut them.
Cut and delete.
Yeah.
Bye, Felicia.
Bye, Felicia.
how to set boundaries with your friends.
Well, we don't have any.
Don't have boundaries. There's no boundaries
So,
with us.
I don't know.
But I do.
I mean, set them.
But we don't take the piss either.
No.
And we
In
don't
saying
treat
that,
each
we-
other like shit.
No.
Like, I know sometimes I definitely push the boundaries. Like, especially at the moment, like, she's pregnant as fuck and, like, working in retail and, like, going through her own shit. And I know I can just be like, download, like, all onto her. And I definitely, like, feel awful about that. And sometimes I say that and sometimes I'm like, just don't even reply. Don't even listen. But
I
at the same
do.
time, I'm like, fucking
I call
listen to
straight
me.
away.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
But the thing is I know you do that, like, you'd listen and everything to me if I had
Totally.
half the amount of shit going on
Totally.
that you do half the time.
I'm just the fucking drama queen in our relationship.
Well, someone's got to be, and you wear the crown beautifully.
Thank you, doll. Thank you. But yeah, it is important to set boundaries, especially if boundaries need to be set.
Yeah. But again, it comes down to communication. So if something's
Absolutely.
pissing you off or whatever, you just need to talk about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in another friend group and I've noticed one friend in particular has, and that's it is really hard when a friend hasn't set boundaries and then all of a sudden they've decided to set boundaries. So I cannot stress highly enough to set boundaries straight up. Because, like, you can start setting boundaries whenever you want, but again, I think communication, because one thing I noticed with this friend is I was like, excuse me? Like, I was like, but I know enough about boundaries and friendships and I'm a grown-up that I was like, I realised what she was doing, but I think it would have been nice to communicate it and just say, hey, listen, like, I'm trying to honour myself right now. I'm on this journey of, like, self-discovery and self-love and
Taking a step back. From
whatever
X,
it
Y,
is.
and Z.
Like, you should be able to be honest and communicate your honest feelings to your friends. And if you can't, again, bye, Felicia. See you later. Bye. When friends want to piggyback off your business or off your success?
I think this is a you question because...
Well, I wouldn't say, I kind of experienced it once before. Well, when we're talking about us, like, Kiani, again, biggest hype girl, especially, like, when it comes to success and business. Like, your friends, if they were real friends, should be, without even asking you, sharing your shit and supporting your shit and buying from you, not asking for discounts, not expecting discounts. That's, I think, a massive thing to know who your true friends are. And if they're taking the piss or they're not even, like, if you want to give them discounts, if you want to do things for them because they're your friends, they should at least be offering. Like, that's kind of my rule of thumb. And if they're not, then again, I think you really need to set some strong boundaries. And at the start, I was like, I have had a few people take the piss and I'd be like, oh, maybe they don't understand because they don't own a business. But it's the same thing. Like, you need to break it down for them. Like, maybe sometimes they're not purposely being ignorant. Like, maybe they actually don't understand. Maybe break it down into terms of you going into their work where they get paid a wage and you being like, oh, I want this shirt, but this shirt comes out of your weekly wage or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes people aren't purposely being ignorant. They just literally don't understand.
Yeah.
So that's probably all the advice I have there. But I've been there, I've done that, and it's fucking shitty. And those people aren't in my life anymore. How do we remain so strong during different stages of our lives?
Love this question.
Great question.
Yes. And we have lived a lifetime together in these last 7 years. Friendships, breakups, new relationships.
Kids.
Yep, kids, family drama, business,
travel,
jobs.
The list goes on and on.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking about that today when I was talking on my Insta story about how you pissed off and left me and went to Europe for like 6 months or whatever.
Beautiful European summer for 3 months.
I don't know how I survived.
I don't know how you survived either. Because actually, while I was over there, you had
It was when Chris left me.
Yep. Yeah.
But that's how Girl Gangs was created.
It is. It's beautiful. Yeah.
But I would say that's life.
Yeah.
And I think, again, that goes to prove how strong your friendships are.
And it's understanding as well. Like, I mean, obviously you started having kids when I was 20.
Well, there's 5 years between us.
Yeah.
So you were like, is there 5 years?
Yeah.
4?
23.
I turned 32 this year.
So I was 23. So I'm young. I was still partying and carrying on. So
I mean, so was I.
yeah, you're a cool mom. Not like a regular mom. But yeah, it's understanding where she's at. Otherwise, yeah. I mean,
again, like, for example, when I fell pregnant, being pregnant and not being able to drink, like, our friendship is more than just drinking and partying.
Yeah.
Like, it's also like, you know, if you drift apart because you're in different stages of your life, then you're clearly you're not understanding each other enough.
Yeah.
You don't care about each other enough.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I'm constantly growing. We both are, but I'm super passionate on bettering myself, constantly growing and evolving. And I think her more than anyone can vouch for me that the whole 7 years I've been a completely different person every single.
and like, it didn't bother me that you were having kids. It didn't mean that I was losing you or whatever.
No.
It just meant I had to wait 9 months before we could have another drink. And now the roles have reversed.
Totally.
You know?
And there's nothing I love more than a margarita on a Saturday lately, but it doesn't mean that I'm not going to hang out with her and I'm going to drift apart from her.
Yeah.
Like, she is so important to me that I'm like, she can't drink.
You just make it work, just regardless of what stage you're at in your life. So you either want it to work or you don't.
Revolve around food now. Like, it's just, again, if they're important to you, you make it work.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Should your best friend be friends with your ex?
I think absolutely not.
My question is why.
Yeah.
So I feel like I feel like you have every right to question them and say, why is being friends with my ex so important to you?
Yeah.
And the only reason that I can think that it's important is if your ex and them were friends first.
Yeah.
That's the only way.
Yeah, it's the only way. Like, no.
Yeah, like, honestly, us, when we've been through breakups or even fallouts with people, the first thing we say to each other is, doll, do you want me to block and delete them?
Literally.
Like, if you hate them, I hate them.
Yeah.
Not literally, like, but
literally.
we're pretty, like...
Cutthroat.
Yeah, well, especially not just, like, if one of us hates someone for no reason, but if someone's done something shitty or shady to one of us, it's like, no, fuck you. Like, that's my person.
Yeah.
So... Yeah. It depends on the situation.
Yeah.
But
no, you don't be friends with that ex.
No.
No.
Like, I would honestly be confronting them and hitting them up and saying, why is it so important to you to be friends with my ex? Like, again, it's like a whole boundary setting situation.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would
ask the question, but otherwise...
I would love to know their answer. If they weren't friends with them before, like, I would genuinely love to know their answer.
And are they fucking them?
Absolutely, because that's bloody common. It's happened to me, so it's happened to him. All right, and this, I think, is the very last question, the biggest question of the night, and it's funny because we've definitely lived through this. Absolutely, it was one of the biggest topics I was going to talk about. But what do you do when you don't like your best friend's or your friend's partner, or they don't like yours, and do you tell them? They should fucking know, number one. If you're that good of friends, they would be able to pick up on the vibes and the energy. Like, you would know if they don't like your partner.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, absolutely, you should be telling them and you should be talking about it.
And again, it comes back to even the question before. Like, I mean, obviously it's no secret, like, you know, in your relationships that it's just like, if you hate them, I hate them. And if you love them, I love them. And that's just how it should be.
The only way that I can, this is what I was going to comment on when we had a falling out. The only way I can say it's different is the one thing that I've learnt on my journey and during my life is be careful what you're saying to your friends, because we all like to talk about the bad shit.
Yeah.
And the negative shit. You don't really hear people gloating and talking about the good shit all the time. And I don't know where that comes from, but just be careful what you are saying about your partner to your best friend or your friends, because they're taking that on, and at the end of the day, they just love and care about you. So this comes back to our situation when we were very young and we had a falling out over your guys' relationship, and it was because I just loved her and cared about her and wanted the best for her. But if she had have been telling me, I really do love him, like I don't see myself with anyone else, but that was just like a young thing. It's actually quite funny because the tables have kind of reversed now when we're older, and that's why I can honestly, hand on heart, say that I've learnt to talk about the good and the bad, because you've got to remember, if you really do love them and you really do see yourself continuing to go back, or if that's what the situation is, just make sure you're also talking about the good.
Speaking of, he's in the good books because he got me ice cream. Be right back.
Oh my God, so good. Yeah, but definitely my question is also why? Why do you hate your friend's partner? Is it because of what they're saying to you, or do you just hate them? So my other question would be, why does your friend, or why do you as the friend, hate their partner? Is it because they are running to you and they're talking all this shit about them and they're only talking about the bad times? Because I get that. I've lived that. But if you hate them for no reason, or because you're getting like a certain vibe, again, talk to your friend about it. Because like if you're genuinely worried for their safety or their mental health or their well-being, then just talk to them about it. And there is a particular way to go about it. But yeah, if it's just your vibe, then maybe you need to get over it. Like if they're happy and they love them and there's nothing to be worried about, then maybe it's something in you that's like that situation has triggered you in some way, shape or form, and maybe you need to do a little bit of soul searching. I don't know. But we've definitely lived that. Absolutely lived that.
Yeah.
With several partners during the last 7 years.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest things that put a pressure on our friendship, I think. Definitely. But at the end of the day, like, we're at a point now where we just support, we just support each other and say, as long as you're happy and, you know, we're happy for you. Whatever you want, whatever you need, that kind of thing.
Definitely.
So you need to put your feelings aside for them.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's your friend's journey to live. So either you need to accept that and go, this is their journey and I don't care, I'm still going to remain their friend. And if it is the old story of they're just talking shit about their partner to you constantly, then address that. Just be like, how can you expect me to like your partner when all you're doing is talking bad shit about them?
Yeah.
And that might actually wake them up to what they're saying about them, and then maybe they'll start coming back and saying some good things about their partner. But that's probably the only advice I have there. Mm-hmm. Yep. Anything else, Doll? Or
no, just eating this.
Just balls deep in the fucking Ben and Jerry's. Love that for you.
It's really tasty. You'd die because there's gluten in it.
I'd absolutely die.
So I'll eat it for it.
But I cannot wait to eat my gluten-free pizza over there. Mm-hmm. And on that note, I think we might tap out here. Mm-hmm. Got anything else to add for the people?
Well, thank you for having me.
Oh, anytime.
It's been an absolute delight to sit on the pink couch.
Maybe not now. I think I'm going to get you back on about another topic, and maybe when she's got a bit more of a belly, because she's at that weird stage. You can't really
where it just looks like I've eaten too many of these.
You can't really see the baby yet, but I'll give the people what they want, and I'll get her on for like the WAP dance or a twerk session.
Yeah, we'll give the people what they want.
We will give the
I think that's been mostly requested a lot.
Biggest request on my social media ever is I want her to twerk pregnant.
And I will.
If you've followed me for a while, this chick knows how to twerk, and I'm like, the minute she's on the piss, I'm like her paparazzi. Like, I feel for her.
I love it. I love it, though.
She secretly loves it.
I do love it.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching yet again. There'll be another episode out in 2 weeks' time. Watch over on my socials for what that one will be on and send through all your questions. Don't forget to subscribe. Have a lovely night.
See ya.